What's up, everyone, and welcome to Week 94, count it, Week 94 of Shark Sports Radio. It's yours truly, Mark Loisel Jr., a.k.a. Shark, right here in the Ocean State. Thank you all for taking a dive into the tank with us. As always, you can tune in using Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and or Spotify app. Please check us out on X at SSR34_, YouTube at the Shark Sports Radio channel, TikTok at Shark Sports Radio, and as always on Facebook. You can find us everywhere. Play Underdog today. Deposit offers up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's right. Get on it. Download the app. Play using the promo code Shark Sports. Take full advantage. Underdog is offering customer boostober. What does that mean? Oh, that means it will be a boost or promo every single day. So let's get on it and play. Tonight, I'll run through the projections I'm rolling with in week 6. I did go winless last week, but that's all right. You take the wins, you take the losses. Before we get into those projections, right, we got the BDE. The BDE belt, Underdog Fantasy BDE belt. That's right. It's right here tonight with yours truly. I'm going with Cincinnati quarterback Joe Burrow. Okay. The quarterback play in that game was absolutely tremendous. I know that game wasn't on, especially regionalized here in Rhode Island. We had the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. What a bombshell of a game that was. But Joe Burrow had a coming out party, I think, officially in the 2024 season. And Lamar Jackson had such a good game, too. And they were going, battle for battle. But I want to be different this week. I'm going with Joe Burrow, 30 for 39, 392 passing yards, 5 touchdowns. He did have that one interception late in the game. And he's got to find a way to, button it up, right? I think that's a big key with him. Is yes, he's pretty boy swag. He's got all the, highlights in his here, and he's the number one pick. And Cincinnati looks at him, as a highly touted quarterback for their franchise cornerstone moving forward. But the issue is he can't close games, right? Final 3 minutes of this game in the fourth quarter, he gives up a big stunner to the Baltimore Ravens. In previous weeks, it was the Washington Commanders. Gave up the leads. You got to find a way to keep that afloat, Joe Burrow. But at the end of the day, he does get the Underdog BDE belt for this week. So let's get into the picks, right? There's a lot of picks this week that I want to get into. We'll start off at the top. The number one pick for me this week is Caleb Williams. Yes, Caleb Williams had a coming out party. If we can continue that show, it was Caleb Williams had a massive week 5. After putting up 304 passing yards on 20 for 29 attempts, no interceptions, just a hell of a week. I think he had 2 touchdowns against Carolina. And I think it was something that he just needed to boost confidence, right? And if there's any team in the league, I'm sorry to my brother, he's a big Carolina guy. But if there's any team in the league that you can gain confidence from, it's probably Carolina Panthers, just to get you on the right track. And I have him at higher on 1.5 passing touchdowns against the Jaguars. Jaguars are ranked dead last in passing defense, regardless of who they're playing. It's an easy choice. They do give up, I believe, the most receiving touchdown, passing touchdowns in the league. So with that being said, Caleb Williams, take that higher on the 1.5 passing touchdowns. Moving on, we got the Ravens. The Ravens are playing the Commanders. We'll get into the breakdown later, but the Ravens running back Derrick Henry has been such a good complementary piece to that Ravens run game with Justice Hill in the backfield as well. Nice little 1-2 tandem with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. They are proven to be a lethal tandem in this league. I have him going higher on 83.5 rushing yards against the Commanders. Washington has allowed right around 130 rushing yards per game. They're really bad against the run, and they give up 5 touchdowns so far this year. Henry has hit 90 plus yards in the past 3 games, right? 92, 199, and then 151. So he's having his way. And he had his way big time against the Cowboys, who everybody thought coming into this year was going to be a defense that was going to be a force, counting me. But they've had some injuries, right? But looking at Derrick Henry and his capability, he's a guy that's going to perform at a high level. He should be a top 3, top 5 back in fantasy. And the way he's running the ball right now is a lethal force in that backfield, like I said, for Baltimore. And what a showdown that will be in the state of Maryland. Moving on, we got the Commanders again with Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, is back, right? I know he had a slow start. I know he, fell off a little bit at the beginning of the season, right? But I have him higher on the 0.5 receiving and rushing touchdowns against the Ravens. The Ravens have given up 9 touchdowns in the year through 5 weeks. McLaurin has posted up to 2 in the 100-yard receiving games in the past 3 games. He is a guy that continues to thrive and find strides with Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury, who's playing a really good game out on the sidelines, putting together really what Jaden Daniels is more than capable of doing, with the, RPO with Brian Robinson, the quick throws, the deep throws, the explosive plays, willing to take shots downfield, which you really don't see much out of a rookie sometimes, but he's having a tremendous year. And he might be up for Rookie of the Year when it's all said and done. If not, it's close to guaranteed at this point. And that should be a great game to watch too. So I really think that Washington and Baltimore will be a hell of a game. And I really think, like I said, Scary Terry, as Halloween approaches, is exactly what the doctor ordered. So let's hope for Scary Terry to go off this week against the Ravens. Falcons, I think Falcons found a way, especially late in the games, right? Whether that's with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this past week or, against the Philadelphia Eagles, Kirk Cousins is finding a way to have more and more confidence in his weapons, right? And a big weapon for me this week is Kyle Pitts. I have him higher on 0.5 receiving and rushing touchdowns as well. Carolina gives up the most touchdowns against opposing tight ends. So ride that projection because I'm guaranteeing him to get in the end zone. He has not scored since week 1, okay, against Pittsburgh. We get that. But he will find a way to get in the end zone. Kirk Cousins loves finding Kyle Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts is one guy that will start the drives off on first down or second down and then find a way to get red zone targets. He had 7 catches last week, so Kirk Cousins is always looking for him. And I think he's an easy guy to at least adjust to because, Drake London, heck of a receiver so far, at least in these past few games. I think he's starting to gain more and more confidence with Kirk Cousins. And people, let's call it is what it is. Like, you have Bijan Robinson, you have Drake London, you got Kyle Pitts. But Kirk Cousins is brand new to the system. He's brand new to those weapons. So it does take time to get acclimated and develop with your receivers. And I think the development, I think the chemistry, I think the trust is really, really important when it comes to Kirk Cousins and his receivers. And that's really, truly why I do have Kyle Pitts, because if you looked at it at the start of the year, you'd be like, all right, maybe he's like an Evan Ingram, a solid tight end. He can, find a way to get things done. But I think you'll see it later on this year that he'll become maybe a top 5, top 10 tight end in this league, fantasy wise. And so Kyle Pitts higher on the 0.5 receiving and rushing touchdowns against Carolina. Again, sorry for my brother, but the Carolina Panthers are a team to gain confidence against. Best games to watch in this week. All right. I just went down the list with the Commanders at the Ravens. Ravens are favored by 6.5, according to CBS Sports. I like the Ravens in this one only because they're home. Jaden Daniels, I think will be in the game and help his offense, and the defense is going to have to help out. Brian Robinson could have a big game as well. But I think this will be like a 31-27 type of game where it could potentially be a shootout because when you look at these explosive offenses, and it seems like Jane Daniels is not scared of the road as well. And I really think highly of what Cliff Kingsbury's putting together. Also with Dan Quinn and his confidence in that offense, and obviously running that defense. That's mediocre right now, but I think it will eventually get there. And then plus, I mean, Baltimore Ravens are a tough bout, right? But the Baltimore Ravens are kind of like a sneaky Super Bowl contending team. They could be a team that actually gives Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City fits this year. And if there's any caveat to this, it's Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry can turn a, call it, fringe playoff team or wild card team into a bona fide AFC contender. And so Derrick Henry is going to help lead this team as they go throughout the season. It is important, though, for them not to use him as much as they have been these past few weeks. Now, that's not to say he won't get in the end zone or rush over 83.5 rushing yards this week. I think he will take the higher on that for sure. But I think what you're going to have to recognize is the workload, right? When you have a big guy like Derrick Henry, who's age 27, we all know the shelf life for running backs is age 30. Not thinking down that far down the line, but I also look at it as an advantageous week as the Washington Commanders are not the best team against the run. So I do think the Ravens cover. They are favored by 6.5. So I do have the Baltimore Ravens winning against the Washington Commanders for that battle. Cardinals at Packers. I think a lot of people have to start believing in Jordan Love. Now, he does make some silly errors, some silly turnovers. You saw it last week late in the game. He had like a really bad turnover, but he came back and he threw a touchdown, big touchdown bomb, or at least close to the goal line with Jaden Reed. And I think the Jaden Reed and Jordan Love connection right now is real. If I had to compare it, it's like the Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill type of tandem. And with obviously the Kansas City Chiefs. And I really think when you look at the Packers and the way that they're built defensively, they're holding their own. They got the Bears, they got the Detroit Lions, they got the Vikings. It's becoming a matter of they need to win these games because it is a tough division. So I expect them to beat the Cardinals. They are favored by 4.5. But again, this is definitely going to be another shootout. I think it would be around 34 to 30 type of game. Or sorry, 34 to 28 type of game because I have the Packers are favored by 4.5. Kyler Murray has a good offensive line with James Conner running the show in the backfield as well. So he's gaining more and more confidence. Trey McBride's going to have to get healthy and get back into that system and find a way to make things happen. But Kyler Murray, I think, is becoming a really unique quarterback in this league. If I were to compare Jaden Daniels, it'd probably be the Kyler Murray. And I know his size is bigger, at 6'4", but with Kyler Murray being very, very small for a quarterback, but the ability to find guys downfield, to have explosive plays, to utilize the running game and create that balance in the offense, to take shots where needed. Marvin Harrison weapon, with the Arizona Cardinals, and then obviously Terry McLaurin, with Washington. But I don't see the Cardinals winning this week. I think the Packers will take it. And plus, they're at Lambeau Field, Green Bay. Hell